Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the showdown between the Vampire Coast, who shall be led by Araness Assault Spite, and the Vampire Counts, who are going to be led by the Dark Lord himself, Helman Gorst. And this game did actually take place after the patch, so Helman Gorst did get a bit of a buff, so I believe he costs like 50 or 100 gold less. And also his Mortis Engine effect, which is called the Reliquary Corruption, used to cost, I think, an additional like 100 or 150, but it's now part of his kit. So all in all, he's a little bit better, but he's still the Gorst man, has the same weaknesses. He's quite slow, pretty easy to target, but nonetheless, if he could sit there and just drain things to just cackle and do his thing, he can be quite scary. So here in the front line, we got 4 groups of the zombie powered deckhand mobs, and they're a pretty good, well-rounded choice against the Vampire Counts. They're going to be able to defend off zombies and skeletons and things like that, and against the more durable targets like Graveguard and big armored monsters, they do have anti-large and AP, so at least they can put a bit of a dent in Graveguard. They have a big HP pool, they do the trick. So in the secondary line, we're going to be going with a bunch of guns. So we have 4 groups of these zombie-powered gunnery mobs with handguns, which, pretty self-explanatory. These bad boys are going to be shooting at the big targets. So the Var guys, the Terror guys, the Black Coach, all that kind of stuff. And if we can, Helman Gorst, granted my opponent Falcon here, definitely brought, plenty of screens. So he has like 3 Fellbats here. It looks like 2 Var guys up in the skies. Or is it 2 or is it just 1? It might just be 1. But yeah, a lot of Fellbats. So 1 for each of my guns, which is going to make Helman Gorst's advance a little bit safer. So here in the backpack, we do have 2 groups of the Morngulls. Now, we don't have no Invocation of Nehek, no Drown Dead. Trying to mix it up a little bit and not rely as heavily on those things because obviously nerfs. Invocation of Nehek, despite the nerfs, is still really, really powerful, especially with monsters. So if you are like in a super competitive environment, it's probably still going to be the best choice. Granted, there are other options. Of course, you have Lord of Death, Lord of the Deeps, and in this case, we are going to be bringing a Vampire Fleet Captain with Lord of Death, so Spirit Leech and Fate Buno. So 2 Morngulls. Araness Assault Spite is actually, I feel like she has a bit of a niche here. Nautilus is very good. I feel like Luther Heart can be quite good against Vampire Counts up in the skies. If you go for an Air Force with Vampire Coast, you can do some work. But she gives all her nearby allies anti-large. You can see here these Depth Guard have anti-large, the Morngulls have anti-large, so that's going to make them really good against these big monsters, right? The Vargeist, the Terrorgeist, the Black Coaches, and plus she has a Spearfisher's Net, so that's going to be really good against the Terrorgeist and the Black Coach. So we're going to see how she does. She's going to be dueling for sure. 2 Depth Guard, and again, a lot of my builds have been relying very heavily on summons in the past. So this time I'm trying to get more meat in my army. So 2 Morngulls plus 2 Depth Guard actually gives you a lot of punching power. So we're going to see if those bad boys can win the day. And for Falcon's army over here, he does have 4 groups of Fellbats up in the sky. The front line is going to be a combination of Skeleton Warriors, and I believe he has some Graveguard mixed in as well. Looks like it's all Skeleton Warriors, and then on the far side, he's going for a bit of a flank overload here. He does have the Graveguard. Helman Gorst coming in with his brothers. The bros looking quite happy to be hanging out with the older sibling here, and it looks like he does have the Awaken. Oh, that's why there were so many Graveguard in this game. I was like, I don't see too many right now, but it looks like he was summoning them with the Gorst Man. So Awaken from the Grave, he does of course have Reliquary Corruption, which is a Mortis Engine, and Skeleton Warriors, Blood Knights on the flanks for anti-large. Blood Knight's going to be super good against Morngulls for sure. He has the Terror Guys for anti-large, so a lot of heavy hitting stuff here from the Vampire Counts. He does also have a Necromancer with the standard kit, Invocation, Raise Dead, and Van Hell's Dance Kebab. And a bunch of Air Force. Yeah, it looks like he's going to have 1 Vargeist as well as a bunch of Fellbats. So let's get the show on the road, guys, and have some fun. So on the far side of the map, you can see we're going to be shooting downtown into the Fellbats, trying to get some value there. But in the back, Falcon does have a very nice little ambush. So the Feasters in the Dusk will just get mashed on by Depth Guard, but if he's able to get on top of zombies or my guns, these guys are going to just be a value train for him. So right now I am going to be moving up these Depth Guard to defend against the Fellbats, and my front line will be engaging with the Skeletons here in a moment. So the Depth Guard, like I said, will be engaging with these Fellbats and hopefully able to kind of shut those guys down. Now this is where the main fight's going to be. I do have my gun shooting up in the skies and getting some pretty decent value against the Vargeist, not killing a model or doing substantial damage, but it'll add up over the course of the fight. And the Blood Knights on the far side going to be probably working around my halberds right here. They don't have the best point of entry, so it's going to be a little bit tough for those guys. Now he does land right here with the Terror guys, so I do respond with Araness Assault Spite. She's going to be coming in there with her pole. And all these Morngulls have anti-large right now, so we're going to be coming in, trying to spank this guy, get some good damage. And of course, the Spearfisher's Net does lower the melee defense by 27, so that's going to put him down to 15, which I'm quite happy about. And in response, Falcon is going to be coming over here with the Vargulls. Whenever I say in response, it makes me think of like Magic the Gathering, but he's going to be coming in with the Vargulls and the Vargeists and the Fellbats here, and they're going to be landing on my guns. The Depth Guard are going to be intercepting, and I do also detach 1 group of the Morngulls to come over and help to give me some mass to punch those guys off. And the Vargeists are really just getting beaten down by the Depth Guard. They have very, very low armor, so they're going to have a hard time there. Falcon does use an Invocation of Nehek, but what's really going well for him is that my entire gun line is pretty much shut down. These guys I should have piled over here a little bit quicker. For some reason, I thought there was pressure coming from there, so I was a little bit lax on that. The Depth Guard here are going to be defending these guns, and this is a good situation. The Depth Guard seem to perform pretty well against the, Vargeist because their armor is so low, their melee defense is so low, and the high DPS of 70 on these Depth Guard is going to be very solid. So they're able to chew through a lot of troops, and though I am losing pretty much all my guns, I'm still getting value on multiple fronts. But the bounce power is a little bit in Falcon's favor as Hellman Gorst just cackling. He's just kind of methodically working his way through the front line, teamed up here with the Black Coach. So the two meme lords himself, granted the Black Coach isn't so much of a meme, it's actually a pretty good unit nowadays. But Hellman Gorst, of course, still a meme. So he's going to be grinding through here. He is killing a lot of my chaff in the front line, but this is really kind of the pit fight here in the back. I do get a Fate of Yuna on top of the Blood Knights. They're going to be fighting Depth Guard, who also, I believe, had anti-large a moment ago. So they were able to do a ton of burst damage against the Blood Knights, which is nice. And the Morgul's are just grinding it out, but it's a very, very close fight here in the pits. I'm losing a lot of stuff. You know, I have no Invocation of Nehek to heal up my Morgul's, which you usually do, right? That's pretty much the standard protocol for that, but I don't have it here. But the Morgul's plus Araness Assault Spite with Manon's Luck, making her a very, very good duelist. We're able to just beat the brakes off this Terrorgeist. But you can see Falcon, of course, with some pretty good micro, going to be cycle charging back in here to try and pick off a couple Morgul's. But Assault Spite will be jumping in on the Terrorgeist here in a moment. And the dreaded Black Coach is also getting pretty low as well. So I did have the other group of Morgul's hitting that. But here we get a taunt on this guy. It's going to be slowing him. And Aranessa should be able to finish off this big, scary vampire beast here in just a moment. The taunt making it very, very weak with only 15 melee defense. So down it goes. All the Morgul's had anti-large. Like I said, I think that's a really strong hit. So maybe bringing that with like Invocation of Nehek would be pretty... I mean, but Death was so good this game too. I was able to get Spirit Leeches. I also got a really huge Fate of Buna, which pretty much killed those Blood Knights outright. I mean, obviously with the support of Depth Guard and things like that, I was able to kill them. Now this battle's still pretty tight. He still has the Black Coach. He has a ton of infantry here, Skeleton Warriors. He has Graveguard, which I'm not sure if these ones are summoned. It looks like they are summoned, those Graveguard on the bottom. No, those are actually natural ones. So he's pretty much won this actual fight. I still have the Depth Guard fighting. They got 56 kills, have done pretty well, but the Black Coach is going to be able to run them through pretty easily. So I try and fall back at this point because I have pretty much a full health group of Depth Guard over here. And finally, I am able to deal with the Fellbats. Now, Fellbats are infantry size, so the Halberd zombies actually aren't that fast at killing them. So it kind of made me wonder, I was like, should I have left some standard deckhand mobs back there to kill them? Who knows? In the front, deckhand mobs are able to beat the Skeleton Warriors. In the front, the Depth Guard did pile in to fight these Skeleton Warriors, and they did pretty well. But at this point, I'm like, okay, I need their help over here. This fight is very, very close, and I'm slowly starting to get pushed back by the might of Hellman Gorst. So I haven't really had the means to target him. And the only time that Hellman Gorst can really be a viable, solid pick is if there's no means of shooting him, right? Or targeting him down with like a high mass unit. And in this case, pretty much all my guns are offline, so I'm going to have to fight Hellman Gorst the good old fashioned way, which is going to be grinding through and fighting him, which kind of plays into his game here. So Hellman Gorst is just rolling dirty. He's able to finish off the last of the Depth Guard here. It looks like there's only a couple left, but I do have another group which is in pretty good shape. But the Black Coach is going to be riding through these guys. Black Coach has great AP values. He's able to get in there and do some work, but I do get a Spearfisher's Net. So the Spearfisher's Net is going to be going down to the Black Coach, lowering its melee defense to 0, which is going to be incredibly nice. And you can see the Deathcaster as well as Aranessa going to be jumping in there, and anti-large coming in. The Black Coach taking a lot of damage. This could be a moment in which it's going down. The last of the Morgul's as well piling in. Now they do have the Hunger as well, so they're going to be healing while they're in combat. And the zombie powered deckhand mobs with polearms are also going to be surging in. So I did win battles on multiple fronts over here with most of my zombos. So now it's just going to be a zombie grind. But Hellman Gorst, remember, Mortis Engine effect is going to be super effective against these high model count units because Mortis Engines tick per model, right? So it's going to be doing a lot of damage to these really, really big units. Nonetheless, we still have some Depth Guard fighting, only 15. So that Black Coach has just been doing a number on my troops, up to 61 kills. And man, look how fast that Black Coach just annihilated my Depth Guard. Incredible stuff here. So at this point, I'm like, okay, Aranessa is a duelist, right? She's kind of a combat character. So I need to get in there, start killing his support characters. And you can see that Aranessa is going to be getting there, just doing karate kicks. Look at that. She like flew straight up and then like flew through the air. I don't know how that physics doesn't explain that. But anyways, the Necromancer is going to be, oh man, she comes in with the steel rod and just gives him the business. That Necromancer goes down and Hellman Gorst is next. And Aranessa is pretty good at pursuing characters, but she doesn't have the biggest HP pool. So you need to be careful. But Hellman Gorst, I think on his corpse card is large. He is, so her bonus versus large is going to be huge here. So Hellman Gorst starting to get, shanked a little bit. She's jumping all over his cart, doing backflips. The Black Coach is going to be jumping in to help as well, and the bounce power is just dead even. He has a lot of stuff left. I mean, he's got, I believe he has the Feasters in the Dusk. He does have zombies. He has Skeleton Warriors here, and of course Graveguard, who are they summoned? It looks like these are actual Graveguards. So oh, wait, I can't quite tell. It's a little bit hard to tell right there. But anyways, Araness, Assault Spite, and company are going to be going after Hellman Gorst. He's getting very, very low. He's trying to escape, but I was just spam clicking with all my might, and she's able to hunt him. It's almost like she like jumps over units when she's on her like peg leg thing right there. But anyways, she's going to be attacking him again. But the Black Coach is going to be coming in. Falcon, of course, very wary that very knowledgeable that he needs to protect this character. So the Black Coach is going to be screening me out, which is giving Hellman Gorst time to get away. But the Vampire Caster here, the Vampire Fleet Captain, is going to be going in, and Hellman Gorst is disintegrating and he's crumbling. And now I do pull ahead in the bounce of power as the dreaded Black Coach is doing work, and Araness Assault Spite is able to drop the Fisher's Net right there, and she's just going to be, oh, look at that. That's like straight up some Olympic stuff. Yeah, I think it's like a jump kick. See, look at that. She like goes up and then flies forward. Somehow when she's like suspended in midair, Oh man, just that's like an actual karate kick. Awesome. So anyways, Araness Assault Spite is able to do a bit of work here in the Black Coach, which is crumbling. It's not dead yet. And there's still quite a few Vampire Count's troops. There's a lot of Graveguard. So if Aranessa, for some reason, was falling to the Black Coach here, I think the Graveguard might actually be able to grind everything else out because, of course, they're very, very good in that situation. So the Black Coach here is going to be jumping back in. It's at negative 26 leadership, so it's certainly on the brink of death here. But he's going to be coming in, getting a nice little charge here on Aranessa, and she does get run over by the Black Coach. I don't know if she has charge defense or anything like that. Something else we have to check out. I do believe I have one more Spearfisher's net, so I don't know where she keeps those nets, but regardless, she probably has one more left. But here you can see the Black Coach is going to be crumbling, and from there, the rest of the Vampire Count force is going to be dissipating. So definitely a very fun game. Obviously, he memed pretty hard with Helm and GHORST, but Helm and GHORST, Felcon is such a good player. He can make Helm and GHORST, pretty efficient. Using the Felbats and the Vargeist to shut down all my guns was, I wasn't expecting that much of an air force, but if you're going to use GHORST, you have to make sure to shut down the things that beat him, right? And the things that beat him is focus fire from missiles or high mass units, right? So I didn't really have too many high mass single entities to go after him in the early game because I had to kill the Blood Knights, I had to kill the Terrorgeist, the supporting elements before I could go in with Aranessa. But it was a cool build for sure. I really wasn't expecting it. It really, the Helm and GHORST caught me off guard, and he was able to grind out that flank battle. I really thought I had that with the double Morgulls. I was like, oh, I can fight through all this, but the GHORST band kind of drained all my supporting elements away, and just made it really tough. But Aranessa was incredibly good this game. I really like her, and I'm pretty happy that there have been nerfs to the Vampire Coast because it's kind of making me expand my horizon as far as like trying out new units. And I do think Aranessa is pretty good. I still am on the fence about Lore of Death here. I think it was very good at killing the Blood Knights, and Spirit Leeches were also quite useful. But having, I don't know, it's hard to say. Yeah, having Invocation of Nehek to heal up Morgulls and Depth Guard is just so much value, and I really did miss out on that. So I don't know. There's an argument for both, but I'm going to be trying different things like Lore of the Deep and Lore of Death and whatever else I have access to. So yeah, Vampire Coast build I thought was pretty good. I don't know. Yeah, the only thing that you could really change, I think it's a pretty efficient build. The thing that I would maybe change is something in the leadership. You could go with Noctilus, or you could switch it up and go with but the Spearfisher's net was the reason why we were able to kill the Terrorgeist, and it was super good. The bonus for Slosh on Depth Guard and Morgulls is really good. So maybe just going with Aranessa plus the Invocation of Nehek and Drown Dead. I don't know. It's pretty damn good for sure. Hard to say. So anyways, as far as the Vampire Count build, I thought it was pretty solid. Felcon, of course, said he doesn't play too much Vampire Counts, but nonetheless, he certainly did a really good job disrupting my force. He had the Felbats up in the skies, the Vargeist diving in, he had the dreaded Terrorgeist, and his Black Coach micro was really, really good. That was quite disruptive. So well played to Felcon. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this Vampire Coast vs Vampire Count showdown. We will see you guys next time. Take care.